We've all experienced hurt, disappointment, and even betrayal in our lives at some point. That is part and parcel of life. Sometimes you have the desire for the perfect job and you don't get it. Or you've been overlooked for a great promotion and you feel hurt. There may be something that has occurred in your life that has left you heartbroken. If not several times, but at least once in your life. For most of us, we are able to move on from this experience and we get on with our lives. But in some cases, time does just not heal those wounds, and we find it difficult to naturally let go and to move on from a painful experience. It is at those times that we need to remind ourselves that the reality of life in this world is that accidents will happen. Bad things will happen to good people. No matter how much you prepare for something, there's the possibility that something may still go wrong. And sometimes it's avoidable and sometimes it's unavoidable. Whatever happened, did happen. And there's nothing that you can do about what has transpired in the past. And that is important, that we need to accept what has transpired in the past. And you need to let go. Because very often thinking about the past and engulfing yourself in feelings of sadness, what happens? You start to feel pity for yourself. You start to feel sorry for yourself. And that is really foolishness. There's an Arabic saying that Al-Madi inda al-uqala yutwa wala yurwa. According to intelligent people, the past should be buried and not narrated. Every time you keep dwelling on the past, you stop yourself from moving forward. It's no use crying over spilt milk. No matter how much regret you express about it, it's not going to bring the milk back into the container. And what then happens? You tend to end up living your life in the shadow of what is supposed to be. And the question that we need to ask yourself, that can I really return the sun from its starting point? Can I take the baby back into his or her mother's womb? Will the milk of the breast return into the breast? Will the tears return into the eye? The answer is obviously no. And by reliving and worrying about the past, we become victims of extreme sadness and terrible conditions that follow. Allah Rabbul Izzah reminds us in the Noble Quran, and He says, Tilka ummatun qad khalaqt. That was a nation that has passed. Meaning, they passed on. They perished, they passed on, they died, and that is what is transpired. Our problem is that we cannot deal with the present. So we resort to the past. We resort to the past. And that is why one of the Arabic sayings is that when you continue to dwell on the past, then people would say to that person, La tukhrij al-amwat min quburihim. Do not raise the dead from their graves. By dwelling on the past, you are really going back to something that there's no end to it. And it is a sign that you don't know how to deal with the present. وَلَئِنِ اجْتَمَعَتِ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ. If jinn and mankind had to gather to bring back the past, they would not be able to do that. Because it cannot be brought back. It is impossible to bring it back. And what we need to keep in mind, the sayings of the wise, إِنَّ الرِّيحَ تَتَّجِحُ إِلَى الْأَمْهَامِ وَالْمَاءُ يَنْحَدِرُ إِلَى الْأَمْهَامِ وَالْقَافِلَةُ تَسِيرُ إِلَى الْأَمَامِ فَلَا تُخَالِفْ سُنَّةَ الْحَيَاةِ. When you look at it, the wind blows towards the front direction. Water flows towards the front direction. The caravan travels forward. This is the general practice of life. So why are you opposing the practice of life by looking backwards? Forget about the past. Yes, you shouldn't forget the lessons that the past may have taught you. but don't dwell on the past, because that doesn't bring any benefit to your life, and it just brings sadness. So if you'd like happiness in this world, don't focus too much on the past.